What are some of the things that you and the board have done since becoming director of football that have improved the matchday experience for fans?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I don't think that we've done enough in that respect. What we have done that's been positive is well, the club shop is now stocked. Previously we didn't have a shop, and some of the merchandise in the shop is geared around kids.
Yeah.
Like shin pads and footballs, keyrings and so on. And the rationale behind that is to basically provide goods for children. It's a tiny wee, relatively insignificant thing, but until the club own the stadium, there's not really much impact or influence that we can have on the overall matchday experience. It's something that's huge in our agenda, but it's not something that we've had a chance to fully implement as yet.
In terms of the luxury side of things, what hospitalities packages does the club offer, and what benefits are fans entitled to when they take up these packages?
Again, that's another challenge on the basis that we don't own the stadium. We've got Gold Club members who should in theory have access to an executive box prior to the game starting and at half time, where they'll get teas, coffees, biscuits, sandwiches. Half time they get pies and soft drinks. That's one of them. There's also a Platinum Club membership, whereby those Platinum members would gain access to the boardroom, home matches, and gain access to away fixtures, boardroom access to away fixtures as well. Within the boardroom, they're entitled to boardroom hospitality. So that's two elements that we do control. In terms of the club hospitality for paying guests to utilise the function suite, there's an ongoing dialogue just now with the guy or the company who have got a lease with the stadium, and until that dialogue's cleared up, there's no hospitality offering to any other fans.
Do you have any plans for the future to expand the matchday experience in terms of pre-match entertainment, stuff which stands out outside the stadium, etc., stuff like that?
Yeah, I think that's vital. Just now, the reality is we don't have enough fans attending home match fixtures to demand kiosks outside the stadium. But one of the things we're looking at is the creation of the Young Accies campaign. And the Young Accies campaign is to try and encourage families to come to the club with their kids, to basically get membership of an association with the club for a very young age, and then to create a matchday experience for families that makes them want to come back. Whether that's entertainment behind the goal area, which is a vacant area, or whether it's within the confines of the stadium, that's still to be determined. But again, I go back to the point, until the stadium belongs to the football club, we're limited and restricted to what we can do.
Yeah. Safety in the stadium is paramount. Can you touch on anything that the club has done to ensure safety for fans on match day?
Yeah, well, obviously we've got a safety certificate for the council that we need to adhere to. Whether that's ensuring that the steps aren't slippery by putting coating on them, or whether it's ensuring that the railings are secure to stop fans, spectators falling over them. The health and safety piece is massive. It's the amount of detail that has to go into it's incredible. I wouldn't want to bore you with that. But things like we now can't use the car park. We don't own the car park. Again, it's part of the stadium deal, but we can't use it because the lighting doesn't work. Therefore, for health and safety perspective, we can't expect spectators to go into that area. So it's something that we're acutely aware of, the health and safety of anyone who visits the stadium, and we need to make sure that their journey and experience in the stadium is one that's without risk.
Yeah. On that note, are there any plans to introduce a safe standing section at Hamilton, something that a few clubs have managed to integrate, maybe in the ultra section of it?
No, I don't believe there is. And again, I go back to the point that we, at this moment in time, we're significantly under occupancy of about 5,000. So the stadium holds 6,018 spectators. We possibly have between 500 and 800 fans of our own who attend matches on a match day. On a really good day, you might get 1,200 just now, which means that the occupancy of the stand sitting about 30%. So we don't have any need for to look at the safe standing sections. Just now, there's designated areas that people tend to gather in, and you'll see that for any footage that you look at. The main stand, unfortunately, is really sparse, apart from that one area over the kind of section A, section B area.
Yeah.
So there's no plans for that at the moment, no.
Hamilton does have a fairly great community club. What have you done, and what can you do to make sure the fans feel a part of the club and that their voice is heard?
Well, the fans and community at this moment in time are both separate things. In my opinion, they should be the same thing. I think the fans should be a community. And then you've also got, when you're a town like Hamilton, I think there's about 70,000, 80,000 people live in this area. But we really need to find a way of taking the club out to those people to try and get their business, or try and get their customer, or try and get them associated with the club in some way. The stadium would cater for a tenth of the community, essentially.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not including people who travel from Edinburgh, from the North Island, wherever they're coming from. It's so we should be able to fill the stadium for the demographic that's on our doorstep, and that's really step into community matters. I think prior to me being involved in the club, and for the first year of my involvement in the club, they'd done a lot of community work, but it was in areas that the fans apparently weren't happy with. And what we now need to have to try and do is identify a bit of synergy between, well, what do the fans want, what would encourage the fans to get involved with the club community-wise, and where can we take the club community-wise in order to kind of tick that box.
Yeah. Hamilton Stadium has a very unique look, with the concourses obviously open at pitch level, meaning that the fans don't miss any of the match when they're queuing for food or drink and anything. Could you see, once maybe the club owns the stadium, any plans in the future to add any other unique or modern features to the stadium, and even an expansion if the club ends up in the Premiership and there's more fans coming again?
Yeah, that's a brilliant question. It's very valid. We've got there's obviously a spare bit of ground around the stadium just now. We've got a temporary stand and we've got a vacant part behind the goals. We have had discussions about expansion. One of those discussions was to build a hotel as part of a stand opposite the main stand. Just now there's several hotels in Hamilton, but the occupancy levels there are 97-98%, which in turn means that people are having to go out with Hamilton when in fact they might want to stay within it. So one of the plans for expansion could potentially be a new stand with a hotel in it, and then that hotel can be used to encourage spectators to come for matchday events, to encourage local businesses to tap into it if they've got any seminars or large network gatherings on. And then the last thing that's quite crucial is that we could use it to tie into our international academy, which we're due to launch imminently, and that would include accommodation for those who are attending the international piece.
Yeah, that's perfect.